Y'all already know what you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Once again, the off season is here. The NFL, the off season for America's team. Yeah, it's different strokes because that's what we take a different turn, different things, different people, different players, different coaches, a different team. Let's go back to last year when I told you about chess, not checkers. Jerry won the trade. I mean, should we continue to talk about this or should we put an end to it? Yeah, Jerry won the trade. Look how in position we are now versus how we were then. Even go back to last year. The reason I entitled this Different Strokes because the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, did something that we have never done before. Never. Opening day of free agents, we were at it, signing people, pulling people in. Normally, we wait till late in the off season to manufacture a deal, to strike up the media hype on whatever. We put the media hype to a close. Franchise George Pickens. Put a tender on Brandon Aubrey. That silenced it. Did you hear any noise? The only noise and speculations you hear now what the media is talking about, not knowing what's going on here in the city. Dak doing what Dak does, being a spokesman. That's why Dak gets paid $60 million a year. He has to speak up. Anytime the camera's rolling, Dak is behind the scene. Have you noticed? Chin up and his chest out. Because he noticed the moves that Jerry's making is actually putting him in a position to not only possibly become the MVP next year, but put the team in a situation to be in the postseason play, preferably the Super Bowl. But that's just Dak doing that. They're practicing. Don't worry about what CeeDee Lamb and what Pickens is doing. Don't think Pickens is ready to bolt out of Dallas. No, not at all. Pickens understands the process. He now understands if you bet on yourself, especially with Dak Prescott, you're normally going to come on top. Now, we brought in some new people with the Cowboys. We finally brought in some safety help. We brought in two, to be exact. We wanted to beef up the defensive line. We got rid of Osa. We brought in Bullock. We got Quentin Williams down there, and we also got Kenny Clark. We beefed up the defensive line. Not to mention we added Rashawn Gary on the end. With a healthy as a Raku, the Dallas Cowboy all season is picking up pace. Something we can't talk that we did the year before. It didn't happen. Something we can't say we did the year before last. Didn't happen. Something we can't even say that has happened in the last 5 years. We've been aggressive in the offseason, making major moves, not getting little petty players. Remember, we got petty players a few years ago after Jerry said we're going all in. All in? We didn't do too much to go all in 3 years ago. And pretty much the tape tells it because we've been out of the playoffs, steady stirred up mediocrity because we've been a mediocre football team. Here, that's the truth. You heard it from me. Mediocre, garbage, close to sewage water because of Jerry's not making advanced offseason moves when he need to versus what he's doing today. Now, We re-signed Mr. Williams. We also re-signed, extended Javonte Williams. Finally, we inked Brandon Aubrey to a contract. I told you all of these things was going to play into fruition. I told you so. How it was going to play into fruition. Go back a few episodes, and I told you guys how it was going to all play out. Even the money figure, but I'm pretty sure you didn't listen to me. But I told you so. Now, you guys are waiting on the Pickens deal to get done. Why? Pickens is actually making quarterback money for one season. He went from $4 million in football, they call it petty money, to making quarterback money for one season to bet on himself. $28 million to bet on yourself for one season. Yeah, Pickens, he understands the role. DeMarcus Lawrence, not to bring him up, Super Bowl champion now, tried to tell Mr. Parsons to do the same. Just hold on. Bet on yourself. Jerry's going to pay you. Pickens not trying to get out of Dallas so fast. You guys keep trying to put Pickens with other teams. Pickens is taking this time to look at this situation. Sending him to other teams means it's not Dak Prescott at quarterback. Send Pickens to Pittsburgh. Back to Pittsburgh. They don't have a quarterback. Send Pickens to the New York Jets. Who wants to play with Geno Smith at the quarterback? I'm just giving you scenarios. Okay, they say trade Pickens to Cleveland. Cleveland got a quarterback that's going to put up the numbers that Dak Prescott put up for Pickens to earn a situation, to get paid like this. So you have to take your time and shut up, America. You keep pushing the issue that Pickens want to go somewhere. We will trade you somewhere that you don't want to be. Ask Michael Parsons. Oh, Parsons thought he was going to be gravy up in Green Bay. The people around Parsons are no longer in Green Bay. Checkmate. Jerry won the trade. You want to hear that part? But I'm just telling you reality about Jerry winning the trade. You know, we in position now to have 2 draft picks in the first round. We had to let go of Osa. We sent him to y'all too out there in San Francisco. We may lose Jadeveon Clowney to you, Marcus, up there in Chicago. I'm just telling the truth. We lost Solomon Thomas. He's going back to play for his former coach in Tennessee. Well, we had to make adjustments. But the thing about the adjustments that we made, we filled in the positions at a better pace than we have ever done before. Now, we're going into the point, like you said, the draft is coming. What are the Cowboys' draft needs versus, here's the point, here's the catch. What are the Cowboys' draft needs versus what we want? Now, mind you, I just gave you the defensive line. So why would we be in search of a defensive line? We also re-signed Tyrus Wheat. Not to mention bringing Sam Williams back at the edge linebacker on the outside. Keep following me. So you may understand what I'm telling you about the draft needs versus what the people want. Y'all might not want Clowney, but is you in position to get him? If y'all don't, maybe Cincinnati will, because Cincinnati is building their team. But the thing with the Cowboys, you know, our wants versus our needs, a lot of people got it mixed up about what Jerry is going to draft on Thursday. Don't be surprised if you have a sad face on Thursday because Jerry didn't trade up in the draft. You have to think about it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We have the 20th pick, and we also have the 12th pick. In between that pick, there's 72 other picks that are going to take place. We don't have a second round pick. We don't pick until the 92nd pick. So what are you saying, Bugs? Trade down. I'm literally telling Jerry, hey, sit still. If we can't get who you want, I told you, wants versus needs. Trade down. Acquire more picks in this draft. We're not sold on having to get a Sonny Styles. We're not sold on having to get the safety from Ohio State either. We just went and brought in 2 safeties. So why would we bring in Caleb Downs? Make it make sense to me. The safety room will be overloaded. I'm just giving you facts. You know, you want to say draft a cornerback. Make it make sense to me. Why draft a cornerback and we just drafted 2 cornerbacks to replace the Diggs? See, you guys aren't giving Revels and Carson's time in the system. They didn't get any preseason snaps. They were hurt. Carson's and Revels didn't play until week 8 and week 6. And we were in a twisted system ran by Eberflus. So I don't think we're just in a hurry to draft a corner. I'm just giving you facts. Jerry's throwing smoke. Jerry's throwing smoke. He's skinning and he grinning. He making other teams make moves that don't make sense. The Giants just traded to get in the top 10, 2 picks. They're going to reshift the draft, but the Giants, they need linemen. I'm going to get into that in the second half of the segment. Downs is a game changer, but the thing about it, Marcus, this draft is actually heavy with safeties that people not even recognize. For instance, the safety out of USC, a baller. The safety out of small college Toledo, baller. I'm just dropping down. The safety out of Oregon can fly, a ball. You're only hyping Caleb Downs up because he was on Ohio State, and Ohio State had a lot of superstars. There's a superstar-laden team. But my thing is, we don't necessarily have to make a dramatic move in the draft to obtain a Caleb Downs. We sat and we waited, and we got CeeDee Lamb. Bing. We sat and we waited, and we got Michael Parsons. Bing. We sat and we waited, and we got, was that Zach Martin? Bing, bing. I'm calling out future Hall of Famers. So if we are patient, we don't have to trade up, because if we trade up, we're going to lose value in the 3rd round because we don't have a second round pick. I'm sorry. We're going to lose that value. I did my homework, Marcus. Have you studied your team? It's not such a thing to have to trade up to get a Caleb Downs. See, you so focused on studying on the Cowboys, study on the Bears. That's the thing I be telling people. You know more information about the Dallas Cowboys than you know about your own team. The Bears need a lineman, defensive end. The Bears need a linebacker. The Bears need a safety. So the Bears need a corner. I know what y'all need. I did all of my studying because that's what I'm here to tell you. I know what the Cowboys need. I know why we filled in the positions that we did, because we don't have to be in such a rush to make a draft pick. That's why I say sit back and relax. A lot of Cowboy fans, not wannabes, not watchers, not haters, a lot of Cowboy fans have to be patient with Jerry Wayne Jones. He's not in an urgent move to draft a profile name type player. We could sit back in the draft Notice us to sit back in the draft, trade back in the draft, and collect more capital. If we don't get who we want at number 12, Ricky, trade back, obtain more capital. The thing about it with the Cowboys, guys, the wants versus needs. You want us to have Caleb Downs. You want us to have Sonny Styles. But what we need are players that's going to fit the core of our team. Because the core unity of our team, that is what builds the culture. Take your flashback. I'm going to go far as back as 1987, 88. Miami Hurricanes. My good friend, Mr. Michael Irvin. 88, the playmaker. The core of your team. See, what people didn't know back then when Mike got drafted to the Cowboys, Jerry Jones didn't make the cuts. Jimmy Johnson didn't make the cuts. When Jimmy Johnson came into his office, he had a list on his desk. He had a list of players that no longer should be on the Cowboys roster. That list was made by Michael Jerome Irvin. On that list, those players, not one remained on the team because Jimmy Johnson got rid of them. Because he knew the core of his team, which would bring unity to his team, would develop a culture on his team, to which y'all saw in the next few years brought along Super Bowls. So what the Cowboys need to do right now when we going into our draft season, draft players that'll fit to our core. Not just the name of people in the media who want to hype them up. Because again, this draft is very heavy on safeties. Do your research. We don't have to trade up. I will be happy to sit still, draft the best player available at 12, trade out of the 20th pick, and obtain more picks, because one player is not going to make the tide turn on our defense. Not one. The offense don't need much mustard on the hot dog. But the defense, they need help. We need a lot of help. We got the safeties we brought in. We brought in the linemen to avoid having to rush to trade up in the draft. Now, in just a few minutes when I come back, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about y'all teams and tell you more of my different teams, who they need to draft, where they need to be, because I did my homework. So I'll be back in about another minute, 45 seconds. We're going to give a shout out to our sponsors who help keep the lights on just a little bit. But thank y'all for tuning in. Hold on, because I want to get back with y'all in just a few minutes and we're going to talk about y'all team. Today, tomorrow, next week, next month, you got graduation coming up. You have family reunions coming up. You have the summertime coming up. Time to get your gear custom made. Call Shell Williams today at Custom Pleasures and tell Shell that I sent you. No matter what the quantity of the order is, definitely you will get the top-notch quality. No matter where across the United States, from Miami to Vegas, Shell's work has been seen all over the U.S. Call Shell today to get your customized graduation gear together for the class of 2026. And tell Shell that Derrick sent you. Upgrade your security detail today. Whether you're traveling from Vegas to Miami, from New Orleans to Chicago, even from Dallas to Houston, upgrade your personal security detail by calling Dedrick Cheney He's there to provide the most up-close, professional, dedicated service to protect you. Hey, when you tell Derrick that I sent you, Derrick might have even a little discount for you. Thank you. Give Derrick a call today. Your team, Cowboys. Let's see where we're going down here. We're going to go in alphabetical order of the teams that's needing something. Since they know so much about the Cowboys, Cousin Jay, I want to see, do they know anything about their team? You know, the Cowboys, we really need. I take it back to what I just ended with. It was the difference between wants and needs. Again, we need people to fit our culture, to fit what we're doing. Ricky says, and now for the NFC South. Okay, let's go to the NFC South. We're going to start down there, Rick. Here we go. Now, first of all, we're going to start off by letting you know who your coach is. Now, Saints, you got the 8th pick in the draft. I've been told y'all to trade Alvin Kamara. What, Roger? I know you've been there, Roger. Hey, Rick, Roger rides with me. Roger beat up with me at the Cowboy game watch. And I tell him all the time, y'all should have been traded Kamara. But you ain't going to get too much value now. What you trying to move up in the draft? It don't help you to trade Kamara. But right now, you have to realize who your coach is. Kellen Moore. You need wide receiver help. There you go. You guys only have Chris Olave. You don't really have a secure tight end. I see the Saints actually trading back in the draft to get in the mid rounds. Hold on, not out the top, not out the first round, but I see the Saints trading back in the first round, probably obtaining the tight end out of Oregon. I'm just gonna give you what I think. I know Cornell Tate is the pick, but how many teams, Ricky, are battling to get up there to get Mr. Tate? How many? That's the question. How many teams are willing to fight to Tennessee? Or is Cleveland stuck there and saying, hey, he gonna stay in Ohio? What is Cleveland gonna do? He may have, Ricky, I keep telling y'all need to change something. You just trading back in the first round. You're not trading out the first round. You're trading back to obtain assets. That's why. A lot of things you ain't never done, but you may have to do this one time in order to turn your franchise around. Because honestly speaking, knowing your new head coach, he's gonna draft another lineman. I'm just telling you, he's gonna draft another lineman. Now, you said we in the NFC South, so we're gonna stay in the NFC South. Now, y'all have to put in fear, Saint fans, of the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Panthers made offseason moves by beefing up their defense. So who do you think the Panthers are going to take in the draft? Offense. You only have McMillan, the wideout. The only thing you got over there at wideout. You got to give him some help. You got to give him some help. And the thing about it, is Carolina willing to trade up? Well, let me see. We trade up to number 3 for the line. Y'all don't need no linebacker. I'm glad you're here. Saints don't need not to trade up to get a linebacker. You need help on offense. Kellen Moore is an offensive-driven coach. It would shit me to see Kellen Moore draft a defensive, trade up to want a defensive player. Now, we can go to Atlanta. You're right. Atlanta is better with Tua, but Atlanta is better because they got who I think right now the best running back in the game in Bijan. I'm just saying. I didn't say Javonte Williams. I said Bijan. May be the best running back in the game. Atlanta strong in the backfield. But then you go to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got to replace some Mike Evans. The defense is stout still. They got to replace some Mike Evans. And as we continue to go through here, we're going to switch on over to the NFC North. What's going on, Jimmy? Yeah, y'all lost. Y'all did lose Davis. But that ain't the linebacker that y'all need to get. Not to trade up to get one. But we're going to go to the NFC North. And in the NFC North, you're looking at teams like Green Bay. You're looking at teams like Chicago Bears, Minnesota, Detroit. Detroit got to figure out how to replace Montgomery. They got to figure out how to replace. Didn't they lose Jameson Williams? I think they did. Chicago got to replace. I already told Marcus they need a defensive end, linebacker, and a safety and a cornerback. That's just Chicago alone. They lost Nashawn Wright to the Jets. That's how I know they need a cornerback. I'm just dropping facts. So don't think I don't know what I'm talking about. Green Bay, they got to replace Rashawn Gary. They still haven't replaced Kenny Clark. They got to replace the linebacker that they lost. They got to replace the cornerback. Green Bay need 5 first-line draft picks. They damn self. So I'm just giving you the facts. Minnesota just got Kyler Murray. What a great addition. Yeah. Now Justin Jefferson can do whatever he wants out there because Kyler can hit whatever route that he runs. They got another wide receiver, is that Addison, the backside receiver. They decent in Minnesota. They even got a tight end in Minnesota. That's why I say, Ricky, I look at the Saints possibly just trading back and drafting the tight end out of Oregon. Now let's go on over to the NFC West. The NFC West consists of the Arizona Cardinals. Welcome, Corey Coppage. Right on time. The Los Angeles Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Start with the Cardinals. The Cardinals going into the season, into this draft, with Jacoby Brissett. Are the Cardinals going to make a move to draft the kid out of Alabama? They need a quarterback. Right there. 49ers got a receiver. The 49ers need a cornerback. Just give you the scenarios. The Rams took the entire Kansas City Chiefs cornerback room and put them on their team. So the Rams not looking for a cornerback. They're not looking for a lineman. They're not looking for a linebacker. They're looking to influence punishment on the offensive line or possibly at the wide receiver spot because they were playing around with the idea of trading They're wide out. Just dropping facts. You may not be high on Ty Simpson. You know why? You may not be. But Ricky, I like him. Ty Simpson is going to cause people to change the draft board. Facts. Ty Simpson is going to cause teams like the Arizona Cardinals to give up their third pick, but somehow trade back into the first round, late into the first round, and draft him. The New York Jets, another team that needs Ty Simpson. I'm just telling you the truth. Another team that possibly needs a Ty Simpson, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another team that needs Ty Simpson, I'm laughing because it's funny, Cleveland Browns. It's a lot of teams need a Ty Simpson. Out of 49ers, yeah, but the 49ers just secured the biggest block on their team, which is extending Trent Williams. Even though you got an old offensive line, that's where you guys need to replenish. You have to somehow figure a way to get up higher in the first round to find your, or somewhere in the second round to find your Trent Williams replacement. You have the oldest offensive line in the NFL. That's been the 49ers problem. You know, and you may think next year's draft, Ricky, is going to be high on quarterbacks. Not so fast, my friend. Don't just go to sleep on the quarterbacks that are coming into this draft. And that's for real. Don't go to sleep on. Now, we're going to shift gear. We're going to go on up to Seattle. Seattle's just going to stack up on defense. Where else they need to pick? They just need to stack on defense. That's how I look at Seattle right now. Because they got a young quarterback. They got a young, good running back. They may need to go back into the backfield somewhere late in the draft. They got two young receivers. They got a tight end, a solid offensive line. So that's why I'm looking for Seattle. Let's swing. We're going to swing way on over here to the NFC East. The beast of the NFC East. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Cowboys, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Bambino, Jalen Chaney, Anthony Blue, Ricky Burton. Anybody watching this right now, go back to my August recordings. You will hear me say these words. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to bust up like the Fat Boys. The Philadelphia Eagles are not the same Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what part of that statement that I told y'all was untrue? I got time today. What part of that statement has nothing to do with I told you so? Didn't want to believe me then. You want to wait until ESPN put it up there, and I had already told you so. AJ Smith, out of there. I told you that. When I was telling y'all that throughout the season, the Philadelphia Eagle fans was coming in here to try to reassure me that I was wrong. Not so fast, my friend. I was right. My other four famous words, I told you so. Eagles, you don't need to draft a receiver. You don't need to draft defensive backs. You need a defensive end, which you guys have got in your minds that y'all finna trade to get Garrett. Myles Garrett. Okay. Have that fictitious thought in y'all mind. You thought you was going to trade to get Trey Hendrickson. He went to Baltimore. For some reason, you have in your mind that you're going to trade and get Max Crosby. Not so fast. You need a linebacker. You need 2 linebackers, a defensive end, an offensive tackle, and an offensive guard. And try to find a replacement for Jalen Hurts. Because if y'all don't do nothing this year, his ass is out of there. Out of there. I'm really speaking facts. And you ain't seen the Washington Commanders do diddly squat. Commanders, you're not even making no noise to move up in the draft. You need a wide receiver. See, there you go, right there, Ricky. They may get tape. Just dropping facts. You need linebackers. You lost your middle linebacker. He on free agent list. Had him in the news that possibly coming to the Cowboys. You need cornerbacks. Dropping more facts. Just telling y'all about the Washington Commanders. You have to protect Jaden Daniels. The Washington Commanders really need to trade back to obtain more assets so they can have a successful draft. Yeah, they like them Georgia boys up there in Philadelphia. But one of the Georgia boys done hiked and left and went to the Raiders. The main one, the Kobe D. They ain't got nothing left. But we're going to go right on back here and talk about a little bit more about America's team. Who do you really want, Bugs, in the draft? Go on and just tell everybody so they'll quit wondering. Who I want in the draft? Let me take my hat off. Who I want in the draft? Offensive tackle out of Alabama, Proctor. I need to protect my $60 million investment. I'm still, keyword still, not sold on Terrence Steele. Why not draft Proctor, line him up on side of Booker, bring them boys, the Bama boys, on one side and let them move mountains. What's up, Brad Biddy? Let them move mountains, Wayman Moe. Why not? That's who Brad, there's no way the Cowboys would draft you. No, not at all. You just come sit with me, buddy, right here in the fans, in the stands, with the fans in your hand. Now, I want the Cowboys to draft Proctor. That's who I want. I want the Cowboys with the number 12 pick to draft Proctor out of Alabama. I'm not worried on the 20th pick. I told y'all I want to trade that to obtain more assets. It's just facts. Big old facts. The Cowboys in the offseason replenished what we thought we may need in the draft. The free agent period is still open. We may still get a Fred Warner, the linebacker that's a free agent from Washington. I'll still take him. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm not in a hurry to trade up to get a Sonny Styles. No. Y'all thinking we would trade up to get Reese. Y'all keep wanting to replace DeMarcus Well. Not DeMarcus Well, but replace Michael Parsons. Michael who? Michael who? Damn, Michael Parsons. We got Ezra Raku on the end. I believe in that youngster. He got the same tape measures as a Michael Parsons coming out of college. Check the facts if you think I'm lying. Measurements was damn near the same. We already got a Michael Parsons replacement, y'all. We don't have to be urgent to trade up and make a fool out of ourselves because we really need to trade back to obtain more assets. I see, Jimmy Sawyer, you are proving to my point. You want the linebacker. Earlier in the podcast, sir, I was telling people about our wants versus our needs. We don't need a Jimmy Sawyer. We don't need him, Jimmy. Exactly, Jay. I watched it. I know what I'm talking about. You're exactly right, cuz we don't need to force our hands just because the Giants traded the defensive lineman in order to move to the number 10 pick with Cincinnati. Let the Giants do that. If he don't fall in my hands, I'm okay with that. Only if Sonny Styles falls in my hand. I'm going to be honest, Jimmy. Because if we got to trade up, we got to lose assets. I don't want to lose the assets that we can obtain. Possibly the Fred Warner, I think that's his last name. I don't know for sure. But the linebacker that played in Seattle, that also played at Washington last year, he's still open. We could take him at a venture minimum deal. The kind of deal Jerry Jones loved to work with. We're paying people diddly squat. So you got to put your GM hat on. Think like Jerry sometime. Not junior, senior. Now let's switch on over to the AFC West. Yeah, let's go to the AFC West. Them Denver Broncos may make a trade for Alvin Kamara. I see it happening. Okay, Roderick, Corey, I see it happening. I see Denver obtaining Alvin Kamara for the Saints' 4th round pick. Because you have to be, you can't really pick a player of any sort, because one thing about Sean Payton, when I tell y'all about the core, builds your team culture. Sean Payton is the center of his team culture. If you don't fit Sean Payton's circle, no matter what the hell your name is, he ain't going to draft you. He's going to go right by. I don't want to trade no picks, Jay. I don't want to give up the 20th pick. But even go to the Oakland Raiders, the Vegas Raiders. The thing about the Vegas Raiders is the Vegas Raiders are in a perfect position to obtain the number 1 draft pick. Yeah, the Vegas Raiders need a quarterback, but they also got none other than the richest man active in the NFL. I learned to take a page out of that guy's book. His name is Kirk Cousins. He bet on himself in Washington, bet on himself in Minnesota, and bet on himself when he went to Atlanta. In those years that he bet on himself, Kirk Cousins has been able to obtain more NFL earnings than a one Thomas Edward Brady. Just gonna keep it real. Yeah, they're gonna kill Mendoza because they need an offensive line too. Proof that they need an offensive line, the running back that they drafted out of Boise State, he was held for negative yardage on a whole lot of carries. I can't just say all of them, I just say a whole lot of them. So yeah, Mendoza's gonna get killed. That's why they brought in Kirk Cousins, to show him how to run the 1, 2, 3, get rid of that thing. 1, 2, 3, get rid of that thing. Notice Kirk Cousins is the king of 1, 2, 3, get rid of that thing. Not Mahomes. Kirk Cousins is the key to 1, 2, 3, get rid of that thing. He won. I'm just telling you. If you want to take a page from Kirk Cousins, who is the richest active NFL player, Bet on yourself. That's what he's been doing. And it's been paying off. And the second active man in the NFL that's going to break the record because he bet on himself. Hold on, I ain't got to say it. I'll just dust off the jersey. Woo! You bet on yourself. He got 160. Y'all remember that? You bet on yourself. He got 160. You bet on yourself again, and they paying you $60 million. Bet on yourself. Moving right along, we still over there in the AFC West. The Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes ain't the same Mahomes. You guys are also looking to move up the draft a Tate or a Tyson. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I know Jalen and Jordan Tyson personally. We have the same barber, even though I don't have any hair. Ray Bratton is these guys' barber, including their father. I met the man. Great guys, great gentlemen. Jordan Tyson is going to be an animal in the NFL. Now, if the Washington Redskins slip on him, the Saints, if Tate is not available and you don't draft Tyson out of Arizona State, that's who Kansas City probably going to go after. Because they already got a running back. They got the running back from Seattle. So they don't need to draft a running back. So then we move right along over to the Chargers. The Chargers. What do the Chargers need? Defense. Plain and simple. They got to figure out a way to shore up their defensive line because they're old. On the defensive line, they're old. Okay, we're going to move right over to the AFC South. Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans open up with Robert Saleh as their new head coach. They come in with a new starting quarterback. Some say they may even draft the man coming out of Notre Dame. Actually, that's who they need. They got everything else. They quietly got everything else. They got a solid defense. Tennessee quietly got a good defense. Quietly. They quietly got a good defense. You're the oldest linebacker in the league. But Tennessee quietly got a good defense. So I look at them possibly taking the kid out of Notre Dame at running back. Then Indianapolis Colts. You just signed Daniel, the kid, I forgot his last name. You just signed a quarterback to an extension. You're looking for a trade partner for Richardson. You lost your wide receiver to Pittsburgh. So we know you're looking for a wide receiver number 2. We know you're looking for a possible slot corner because you're trying to trade your slot corner because y'all don't want to pay him. Cowboys are taking. But we ain't going to want to pay him either. We'll give him a 1-year deal. That'll be it. See, I know what I'm talking about. Y'all didn't know that. Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you need? You only need Travis Hunter to get healthy and only play one position. There's no unicorns in the NFL anymore. As far as I can play both sides very well. Pick one side and focus on that side because your opposing team going to have one player that's going to be picking on you every time. Get Travis healthy. Stick him to one position. Let him perfect it there. They put him at DB. Yeah, but they also got him running routes, which he's great at a wide receiver. I ain't going to even lie. He great at wide receiver. But hey, give him one position and tell him, bro, this is what we paying you for. We ain't paying you for both sides of the ball. We paying you to perfect at this one position. Perfect. He's not a Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders perfected at the cornerback position. Perfected at the cornerback position. Champ Bailey perfected at the cornerback position. You notice you never saw Darrell Reeves want to play offense. That's why they call him Reeves Island, because you ain't getting nothing over here. Travis, you might well have your island too. But one position, perfect that. And we're going to go on over to the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, this is more juicier than the NFC East to talk about. Baltimore, y'all got Trey Hendrickson, but y'all also got Lamar Jackson, who is not better than Dak Prescott. Same numbers, but everybody hype up Lamar like he's won a Super Bowl. He don't have a wide receiver either. Need a wide receiver. I'm just telling you. You got Derrick Henry, so what? You need a wide receiver. Lamar ain't the quarterback to lead Baltimore. Why you think the coach left with no problem and went on up to New York? You gotta know the game. Lamar tried to make the game about Lamar when it's time for Lamar to play team ball. Lamar play his ball. That's why Lamar was getting sacked a lot. Y'all didn't pay attention like I thought y'all would. Cincinnati Bengals, you just obtained a defensive tackle from the New York Football Giants. Will that make y'all defense any better? You didn't want to play Trey Hendrickson. You don't have any corners. You don't have a safe. But you do got Jamar Chase. You do got T. Higgins. And you do got that black-white boy named Joe Burrow. Not much you can offer when you need some more help on defense. Cleveland Browns, you finna have the biggest, quietest quarterback controversy in the last 10 years. You keep thinking that Shadour's a shoe-in to start. No, he's not. Guys, if you spend $250 million, $230 million, see, y'all got Dak Prescott twisted. You blame Dak Prescott for changing the NFL market at quarterback. It wasn't Dak's fault. It was all due to the deal signed by Deshaun Watson. There's no way in West Hale or East Rutherford, New York, that Cleveland Browns are going to put Deshaun Watson on the bench after giving him $230 million guaranteed. What, the hold the clipboard? I can do that. They finna throw him in there. His ankle can fall off. He could be in there jamming like Dion with 8 toes. He's still gonna play. Y'all quit thinking Shadour's a shoe-in to start. If y'all spent that type of money on a player, don't you think you need to get full usage out of him? I'm just saying, Jay, he ain't touched the ball because he worth $230 million and you ain't even got a bump on your booty, nigga. Miss me with that, thinking that Shador is going to start. It's a quarterback controversy that's building in Chicago and in Cleveland. Bet your bottom dollar. There's no way you let $230 million continue to sit on the bench. Yeah, they need an offensive line. Yeah, they need other wideouts. They don't need a running back. They got that. They don't need a defensive line. They got Myles Garrett. They even got the kid in the middle. They stout on defense. Only thing about it, Shador, you QB2. They finna get every ounce, dollar, blood, urine, sweat, whatever they can get out of Deshaun Watson, they finna get it out of him. So expect this to blow up around training camp. Mark my words. Now we're going to go on over to the AFC East. No. I'm not through. Let's talk about them Steelers. Man, if y'all don't mind going back into the archives where I told y'all Aaron Rodgers is going to cost Mike Tomlin his job. Now, that wasn't bullshit I said. Where's Mike Tomlin? He's no longer employed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who was the quarterback? Aaron Rodgers. You haven't heard Mike Tomlin come out and speak highly of Aaron Rodgers since he's been dismissed or stepped down, however you want to call it. Think about it. Think about it. You haven't heard nothing because he don't want to tell y'all what y'all really want to hear. But y'all sitting up there thinking Mike McCarthy finna bring back Aaron Rodgers? That ain't the same Aaron Rodgers of 2012. Mind you, then Aaron Rodgers was a bad man. But that ain't the same Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. He cost Mike Tomlin his job. A winning job at that. Pittsburgh, you got a solid backup quarterback that you drafted last year. What are you going to do in the draft? That Alabama quarterback come back to conversation. Carson Beck comes to conversation. I'm just telling you, are you going to wait again on Aaron Rodgers? Time for Aaron Rodgers to go over there with the tumbleweed and let it ride. Now we can get on over to the AFC East. Circle the wagons for your Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and the New York Jets. 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 Jets, you brought back Geno Smith. You want to keep your running back. You got one wide receiver to throw to. Simply because of one Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago reconstructed your whole offensive lineup to fit him. Brought Aaron Rodgers back up. He did that with a lie. You got my coach up there. The brother has a lot of spunk. I just hope you let the coach. Don't get rid of him so fast because, mind you, he's working with Geno Smith. You have to draft a Ty Simpson, possibly. He come back in the conversation. But my cousin Ricky say he's not sold on Ty. Ty really is better than Mendoza. Mendoza is old. The Indiana players are all older. Y'all didn't pay attention to that system that old man up there in Indiana was running. What he got was respectable men, adult. What he got was aged veterans in college to come play for him one season and put it all on the line. He had no young players. They were all 20 plus years of age. So he beat the system by using veteran players. They got players that were 25 years old, 23 years old, playing college football. Of course they supposed to beat up on 18-year-old kids. Think about it. Think about it. So what y'all saying so much about the people coming from Indiana, you may want to back up. Because now the Patriots, I think you guys deserve a red flag because you played what they call it. I forgot the little word they use, but the coach kind of was whispering already that he was going to make a trade for the Philadelphia wideout. Okay, take him. The Patriots become better because he's better than Diggs. They already got a tight end. They already got a nice running game. So the Patriots would be set up perfect with a defensive lineman. That's all they need. The Miami Dolphins, you are a team that need everything from A to Z. You need a wideout. Malik Willis has nobody to throw the ball to. You need two wideouts. You need a cornerback. You need a safety because you let him go to New York. You need a linebacker. You let him go to Philadelphia, who went to Carolina. Dolphins need a lot of help. This draft may not be the best thing for y'all. You need more picks than you guys got on y'all hands. Just keeping it real. And finally, last but not least, the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, what do you need? You don't need a running back. As of with the trade with Chicago, you don't need a wide receiver. You don't need a tight end because you got two of them that are beasts. What do the Buffalo Bills need? Y'all don't know? Buffalo Bills are known for one great defensive player. Do y'all know who he is? Defense, never said anything about offense. Defense. Greatest player ever on Buffalo Bills defense, his name was Bruce Smith. What position did Bruce Smith play? That's what they need as a draft pick. The Buffalo Bills are going to be in a position right now to maneuver to draft up to draft a defensive end. You may not believe my breakdown. I just gave it to you for all 32 teams. Cowboys still sitting back waiting on teams to make a move. This team, that team want to trade up to get this player, that player. This NFL draft, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be one of the best we've ever seen because you don't know who's going to be drafted after Mendoza. That's why it may be the most viewed draft in years because everybody going to stay tuned for the Cowboys pick as they always do. But you got teams like the Jets, they got 2 picks. Teams like the Giants, they got 2 picks. And again, I'm going to reiterate this point. We don't have to trade up. I don't want to lose value in this draft. We can trade down. We can trade the linebacker out of Georgia or we can pick up the linebacker out of Texas. Trading down opens the options, ladies and gentlemen, because who we want may not be there, so let's don't force it. This draft has a lot of valuable players that can work out for the Dallas Cowboy organization. So don't be surprised if Jerry doesn't trade up. Don't be surprised if Jerry doesn't choose who you want versus who we need. I thank y'all for tuning in. This is just a draft episode. I'm coming back for more. I might even tune in on draft night. Will I be tuning in from the start? Or will I be tuning in from the house? Or I may be tuning in from Boomer Jacks. Who knows? But you can always catch it on Blue TV, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. Click, share, like, build up the algorithm. Let's talk about these Cowboys. Let's talk about the NFL. And last but not least, what are my 4 famous words? No, not I told you so. How about them Cowboys? Keep your head up. Keep your prayers up. We'll talk again one day, especially on draft day. How about them Cowboys?